Welcome to the Opinionated Aussies.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Opinionated Aussies. We're back after a very brief break. I'm Adrian, joined by Jordan and Aden as always. How are we going today, fellas?
Good, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, can't complain honestly. And Aden?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad.
Sweet. Alright. We've been getting some feedback on some previous episodes, so we're going to be doing things a little differently this time round. Just turning myself down a little bit. But today's episode is going to be Australian TV in the 90's. We have a lot to say about this because we are the 90's boys. We kind of grew up with mostly cartoons, so we won't have as much to say about it as others. We're staying well clear of home and away, I hope.
Oh, fuck that.
Hang on. But yeah, so I'm not going to take the initiative. Who wants to start us?
I think the guest can start us. Ados.
Sounds good, mate. So, for today's one, as Adrian said, we'll talk about like Australia in the 90's. Not so much just TV shows, kind of like everything about, what was happening in Australia in the 90's. Obviously, we will delve into stuff with TV and ads and stuff we remember as kids. But, I guess, I don't know what to really start off with, whether we talk about, as Adrian said, TV first and then go from there, or what have you? I don't know. So let's start off with some ads, I guess.
I think I got the most iconic one.
You bastard, you just stole it off me, didn't you? You fucking prick.
We were just talking about it with literally the next generation. But the iconic 1300 6555.
Those 6!
The reading writing hotline. I mean, how many of us can recite that and, have actually said, we've seen that ad? Because I remember that ad was still circulating in the 2000s as well. It was everywhere. Oh. But there was also the helpline as well, 131142. And my mum used that on me a lot. She always said, Adrian, call 131142 and tell someone who cares. So, yeah, that was a nice thing to say to a 7-year-old. But other than that, like, with ads, it's kind of like how it is today. Ads are really forgettable half the time. You need a few standout ones. Like, I couldn't tell you any car ad from back in the 90's at all. And I couldn't tell you any food, no fast food, no restaurant, no nothing. I couldn't tell any of them. But those two, one was used on me to tell me to shut up, and the other one was, that jingle. Oh.
Aiden, what have you got?
What about the I just want real milk ad, the low fat, no fat, full cream, high calcium, high protein story? Light skim, omega-3, high calcium with vitamin D, and folate and extra
dollars. I just want milk that tastes like real milk, thanks. This is only real milk. And only 2% fat. Oh, that was great. What about the sunscreen ad? Banana boat. Banana boat.
There's more. There was a couple, I think.
With a little kid in it.
Yeah, I know banana boat, but I think there was another one as well. Slip, slap.
Yes.
Slip, slop, slap.
Yeah. Slip on your shirt, slop on some sunscreen, and slap on a hat.
That ad was more prominent during the early morning cartoon shows. I realised as I grew older, that ad would only mostly show up when kids are getting ready for school and they've got the Saturday morning cartoon or the Monday morning, whatever. Basically around the time that Pokemon was running in the mornings.
Yep.
So that ad,
there was another one. One I didn't think of, a cartoon that we grew up with, Digimon.
I never watched Digimon.
I didn't mind it, Aiden.
No, I like Digimon. Look, I wasn't a fan of the newer ones that came out, but the OG Digimon was the best one.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there.
100%.
Yeah. I still remember, on a Saturday morning, if you woke up too early, you'd have to watch the fucking yoga or whatever on TV, and you go, oh shit, you look at the clock and it's like 5 to 6 or whatever it was, and you're sitting there just waiting for like that 5 minutes to pass. It felt like an eternity for, I think it was like Cheese TV, and then went to like Toasted TV or something to play.
See, you guys had that. We had a different one in New South Wales. We had 4 Kids.
Yeah, we had something along the lines of 4 Kids when I think ABC Kids come to light.
But 4 Kids was very, like, it had all your favourites. It had Digimon. It had the Pokemon. At one point it was running Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh! As well.
Yeah, that's where I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Was on Cheese TV.
And I don't know if... I think it was when I was starting to fall out of being a kid in the early 2000s that 4 Kids... They kind of just disappeared and it just became regular programming. Because I can't remember seeing any 4 Kids stuff for ages. I don't know if there's anything similar to that now or if it is literally just regular broadcasting. But... Oh, excuse me. But... Yeah, I mean... It's hard to remember because I've banged my head too many times. But we've done ads.
Aden, cartoons from you know the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. What are some of your honourable mentions?
The cartoons.
Yeah.
I liked Arthur.
Oh yes. Is that the guy that had he's got the head shaped like fucking Stewie Griffin?
No, that's Hey Arnold.
Oh, well, there you go.
Arthur was the one that was full of
he
animals.
Yeah. What was his
like,
little sister's name? DW or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, DW.
Yeah. Oh, I know the one you're talking about now, yeah.
Arthur, what the hell is he? He's a aardvark.
There he is too.
I don't know. Yeah, righto.
It's furry, that's all you need to know.
What are your big words, Mr. Chinese man? I've got no idea what the fuck you're saying right now.
Aardvark's not even that fucking big of a word. It's like 7 letters. It's just complicated because it has a V, a K, an R, a D, and a couple A's in it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I did.
Too many big words. If it's got a V and a D in it, it's none of my business.
It's got a V or a D, so you don't like the phrase very big dick then?
No.
Okay.
No. But I like the D's that are in V's.
Oh, so you like the word video?
Oh, fuck yeah. Videos are great. Oh, I just thought of another one.
No.
Can I say it?
Can
I say it?
I don't know what you're thinking, but go on.
Venereal disease.
Shut up! Oh my lord, what is wrong with you, good sir? Okay, fuck me. Right. Any other cartoon shows, Aiden, before we go any further into the R-rated shit?
Cartoon shows from the 90s. There's a lot. I can tell you that much. There's a lot. The good old Bob the Builder, the original, and Thomas the Tank Engine. Before they became hit.
Yeah, before they went 3G or 3D.
I didn't even CGI.
Yeah, 3D CGI, whatever the fuck.
I didn't even think of them. I was thinking like, you know, because we were, 6 odd years old. I don't remember, watching. Mum used to, tell me, oh, Thomas the Tank Engine was your favourite. I was like, really? I don't fucking remember that. Maybe because it was the fat cunt troller, but that's about it.
I mean, I can actually agree with Aid on this one. I'll add another one because it just popped in me head, but there's 2 of them. We'll go with the first one that's more obscure. That's Brum, that little vintage car.
I loved that! That little fucking car! I fucking love that!
But the other one that popped in me head, because we've literally referenced it, was the Bananas in Pajamas. We have referenced it in a previous episode.
Oh.
That was... Yeah, you got Radicus. I think his name was Radicus. I can't remember. You got...
Yep.
You got the two bananas. I can't remember all the characters. I think that was all the characters.
I know a character that Adrian is from Sesame Street. Oscar the fucking Grouch.
Hey, okay. I would have taken Big Bird or Elmo, but I guess I'll take Oscar. At least I know I
What
have
sort of
a...
Elmo are you? Tickle me, Elmo.
Don't. At least I know if I'm Oscar. At least I know I have a home. It might smell bad and it's only like a tin cylinder, but I know I've got a home.
Yeah, so yeah, that was another thing. Sesame Street. I remember that.
Yeah. The late night Muppet Show, but that's a bit too
No,
late for us as kids.
that wasn't me. I think, you know, come to the early 2000s, I can't remember where we were living, but we had Austar at the time before it got bought out by Foxtel. And I remember, I think it was on like a Saturday, they used to do like a full 24 hours of SpongeBob. You would catch me at like 1:30 or 2 a.m. in front of the TV, just mind blown at fucking SpongeBob.
Yeah, Fox 8 on All-Star also did that, but with The Simpsons.
Oh,
That was another one. The Simpsons was very popular back... I mean, it still is, because it's still fucking going. But The Simpsons was one that was played a lot. I remember watching it, and because of how often they were doing reruns, I'd always seem to get stuck on the same 4 seasons. And they were seasons 3 to 7 I'd always catch.
I don't know if you ever done it, Aden, but like when you're having dinner, you know, your family dinner or whatever, Mum would have dinner cooked at 6 o'clock for everyone. We'd all sit down, and they'd always have Simpsons on the TV at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
It was their time.
Yep.
They didn't have the news or anything. It was, I think it was Channel 7 or Channel 10, had Simpsons at 6 o'clock, no ifs, ands or buts.
That's because the news usually would be at 4:30 and then 7. And they would allow regular programming in between 5 and 6:30.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Grandad.
I only remember because I always remembered my nan was like, you can't watch any videos at the moment, Adrian. The 7 o'clock news is about to start. And I'd always, fucking 7 o'clock news. I was in the middle of watching, what was I watching? One example, bit fucking weird. I was watching Snow White at one point. I remember going, but the witch hasn't died yet! But
Bloody hell.
I mean, but when you look back at it, there's more than just TV shows and cartoons. There's even a few that we haven't mentioned. Look at we've only mentioned one Nickelodeon, maybe 2, which is Hey Arnold. But there's other ones like that god awful Ren and Stimpy.
I loved Ren and Stimpy.
We kind of grew up a bit too close to them, if you know what I mean. And then we got like the Angry Beavers Are Real Monsters. You go over to Cartoon Network, you got Dexter's Laboratory, you got all these awesome cartoons. And we haven't even covered the English dubbed anime they showed in the mornings. Not all of them, just a few of them.
Dragon Ball.
Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think that's, well, for us three especially, I think I can speak for all us three, that's where our love of Pokemon came. Like, you know, we still play it to this fucking day, and it's like, you don't play it because you're a big kid, but you play it because it brings back nostalgia. You know, when you go and you replay that first game, you know, was it Red, Blue and Gold?
No, just Red and Blue.
Gold come later, but yeah, Red and Blue. How many times have we finished that game? You know, it's and that game's been out for God knows how long.
Right. So, fun fact, without an emulator, I've actually never beaten the original first gen Pokemon games. I've only beaten them on an emulator. The first Pokemon game I ever beat was Gen 3's Emerald. I couldn't even beat Gen 2 because the one copy I got of Gen 2, it couldn't save after like 2-3 days. I couldn't save it, which means if I didn't have a Game Boy Advance SP constantly put into a charger port, I could not finish Pokemon Gold. It was Pokemon Gold. And because of that, I only got to know what Pokemon came in Gen 2 from the TV show. Because, yeah. But we'll move on from that nostalgia. Let's move on to the next one. We're obviously sticking with media for a reason. Movies that you watched in the 90s. Probably movies that came out around the 90s. I can go with one that will make most boys go, yeah, I've never cried at that. But I remember first watching Titanic as a kid. That was one of the first big blockbuster movies I ever watched. That's a 1990-something movie. I think it's 93, I can't remember. But I remember watching that as a kid, and me being very curious, I was always like... Everyone's always like, oh, but the movie's such a good romance. Me being a young boy, haha, they hit the iceberg, here comes the fun part. Which is a very bad thing to say, because it's based on an actual event, so... But that movie, as soon as it hits the iceberg, you can tell that's where the budget of the movie went. It's such a good film. I mean, yes, as you grow older, you appreciate the love story. I really can't stand Leonardo DiCaprio in romances. He's better as, like, fighting for his life.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
John, we are not fit enough to be painted like a French girl. We're more like a fat Russian.
I'll have a white Russian, thanks.
But, yeah, I mean, the biggest other ones is this is around the time the Disney Renaissance in the 90s was huge as well. So I'm just going to throw it out there, and then I'm going to let you guys go on, obviously. But Hunchback of Notre Dame was a 90s movie. It's my favourite Disney movie ever. Absolutely fucking loved it. Don't know if
you can relate to the guy.
Besides that, I actually really loved it. And funnily enough, I'm not a big fan of musicals or music and whatnot in Disney films because, you get over it. That's the one film that has some of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. I'll still listen to some of them to this day when I'm just sitting here like, do I want to be nostalgic? Let's load that up. It's either that or a Goofy movie soundtrack. Mm-hmm. But that's me. Aden, you got any movies that come to mind from the 90s?
I won't lie, Aden. I've never seen Titanic. And also, on top of that, I can't believe you two both had pay TV. Man, I had never had pay TV until I moved out in 2015 and got it with you guys.
Holy shit.
I just felt my bank account cry in, like, pity for you. My bank account. I didn't even pay for it. I didn't even pay for pay TV. So, wait, did you just literally stick with regular broadcasting on normal TV?
Oh, yeah, we didn't get pay TV, not once. Everything was Channel 10, man. The only footy I watched was one game on Friday night and the afternoon game on Sunday. Did not get any other footy. That was very depressing as a kid, not being able to watch every game of footy. That sucked.
So I actually, if you think, I actually thought they broadcasted a few odd years ago before, I guess, Foxtel, the NRL actually made their own app and shit. I actually thought they had a few more games free to air, or was it only the 2 games a week?
It was usually only 2. I think there was a possible third here and there, but.
So on Friday night you got your, obviously Friday night football, then you got your 4 o'clock game on Sunday, and then Saturday at 2 p.m. it was the Queensland Cup. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's where the third one in my head came from, the Queensland Cup.
Oh, well, there you go. I did not know that. Because, yeah, when I was growing up when I was a kid, I know Dad had thinking about it now, Dad would always sit on the couch with a beer or whatever watching the Friday night footy. But yeah, no, I didn't actually pay too much attention of it, didn't think anything of it. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day.
Well, I mean, wow.
Yeah, so you never got to experience Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or anything like that, Aden?
Only the only time I ever saw pay TV was when we stayed in motels. That's it.
Wow. And that wasn't very frequent for you, was it?
Not really. Really. We stayed, I remember, I can't remember what the hotel was called. I think it's a Sundowner near the Thirsty Camel.
I know the one you're talking about. Sun Palms.
Sun Palms, yeah.
Yeah, we stayed there for Easter once. That was like a little treat for us, and I watched every footy game that was on.
Probably your best holiday ever at the time.
Straight.
Well, we'll go back to the question because, yeah, we didn't get an answer, but is there any movies you can think of from the 90s?
Probably why. Look, when I was a kid, like I enjoyed movies and I didn't cry too much at them, not as much as I do now. Cough, cough, Dragon Ball. But probably one of the most emotional movies was the first Pokemon movie. That one got me.
Yep, I can agree 100% with that one. No, I got nothing more to say. I just agree with that. I'm not even going to talk about it because I'll probably start tearing up if I think about that scene again.
Is that the one where Ash gets turned to stone?
Stop!
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Is that Pokemon 2000?
No, Pokemon the first movie.
Pokemon 2000, I believe, was the Lugia one.
Yeah, Lugia, because Pokemon 3 had Entei in that.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a movie. I don't know if it came out in the late 90s but early 2000s, but there was two fucking things that resonated with me. I fucking love it. Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King.
The third Lion King movie. Hakuna Matata Lion King 3.
I don't fucking know. I just thought they were in the original Lion King, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know just those two characters.
Yeah, that just I never watched Lion King, you know, the whole fucking Simba up in the air. I never watched that. I've never seen it. All I can remember is Timon and Pumbaa singing Hakuna Matata, you know, and it's such a fucking uplifting song. It was the best thing since sliced fucking bread.
You know, of all the things I expected from you, Jordan, that was... I think you actually hit home. That's actually something I did expect from you, I'm not gonna lie. A song about having no worries.
Fuck yeah, it's the best song.
What was that, Aden?
So I was going to say, speaking of movies I've never seen before, I've never seen the original Lion King. I have, however, seen the live action one because Paige may have dragged me to it.
By your ear? Or...
So when he says she may have, it was absolutely definitely with a dog collar, with a dog choke collar on and everything, being pulled by a leash.
Yeah.
Like, you're coming with me, fat boy. You're watching this fucking movie about big kitty cats.
I mean, back then I wasn't fat. That was before I got married. It was after the wedding that the pounds kept piling on.
Right.
Yeah, so you're a little bit lighter back then.
That's right.
So now okay, everyone, we're going to turn to a nature documentary. If you listen very carefully, you can hear the pitter-patter of tiny feet as Paige gets ready to kick the shit out of Aden. Just listen for it. Man, that's a bold statement. I mean, to be fair, she does say as well that he did get fat, so...
Fuck no, they did.
Yeah.
A cow in a good pasture eats a lot.
You calling Aden a cow? Or...
Yes.
Okay,
No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
I had to be very careful. No, I wasn't saying it because I was afraid. I thought you were going to say another thing, like, because Aden would be a bull. But you're talking about a cow.
Nah, Aiden's got no nuts. He wouldn't be a bull.
Alright, good point.
It's steer.
So yeah, we've covered movies, we've got TV shows, we've covered ads, but what else about the 90s just resonates with you two? Just looking back at it.
Oh, jeez, it was so long ago now. It's just... And we were only like 6, 7 years old back then, so it's only... Well, what did we do back then? You know, we went outside, we didn't really watch cartoons, I guess, at night. Because as soon as we got home from work, I don't know about you guys, but as soon as we got home from school, Mum would go, get the fuck outside and play until the lights come on, and then make your ass home. If you're not home when the lights come on, I'm going to come out there and kick your ass. So, you know, you got on your bike and you found your mates and you go down to a bit of bushland or something and throw rocks. So...
I mean, better than what I did. I remember one specific memory of the 90s where we were at... So my uncle was getting married. We were in Adelaide for it. And it was probably the best memory I had with me and my cousin, where we were at their house while they were all getting ready for this wedding. We weren't in our get-up yet for it, thank fuck. But we kind of destroyed my uncle's garden and played in the mud as a result. There was literally a photo of us covered in mud from head to toe, and behind us you can see the garden, you can see the flowers that were pulled up and all that. And I remember specifically my mum coming out, she giggled and called out to my now Aunt Jane, and oh, did we get the flogging of a fucking lifetime for it. It was such a good time though, because I can look back at it and go, that's the most I ever laughed with my cousin ever. And we hung out as teenagers too, so that says a lot. We were like 6 and he was 5, so...
Oh, shit.
But, and you, Aden, you got something you want to add to the 90s?
I mean, I grew up on a farm, so there was, you know, a lot of... I grew up around a lot of animals, not so much the animals we have now, because they're a lot smaller than the ones we had, but although we had chickens too, and that was fun. Growing up as a kid, Dad would open and close the fucking chicken coop, and the geese would be pissed off, and you'd open the gate, and then you'd let it out, and Dad would be like, run. That was fun, but other than that, yeah, as Jordan said, you know, you'd go out and muck around with your mates until you saw those lights go off, and then you'd be racing to get home.
Well, I'll add this then. So we obviously were kids in the 90s, but you look at it now, you look at things now as an adult that did come out or around the 90s that you definitely wouldn't have seen as a kid, but you look at it now and go, that is fucking awesome. There's a few things that come to my mind. Again, these are movies, but the Die Hard series and Lethal Weapon series movies were around the late 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I never watched them as a kid. I can appreciate the shit out of those. But there's one other thing that we probably should be remembering and probably honouring. The 90s was really predominantly in Australia one of Steve Irwin's best times as well.
Rest in peace to a fucking legend.
But that's something that I feel like I had to touch on. I add that movie bit in because it's just been in my head. I'm like, I'm going to say it. But the 90s is Steve Irwin. And
yeah, well, when, you know, if you look at Australia, think of Australia in the 90s, right? What Australian legends, Australian icons have you got in the 90s? You've got Steve Irwin, Brett Lee, Glenn McGrath, you've got the Spin King, Shane Warne, you know, pretty much the Australian cricket team. But, you know, you've got... I think he died in the late 90s. Sir Donald Bradman.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, don't quote me on it, but I think so. I remember doing a book report or something on him when I was a kid. But yeah, Bradman, you know, when
he died in the early 2000s. Maybe let's Google it.
Yeah, Jordan's already got the phone out.
He's got it. I'm pretty sure it was either 2000 maybe or 2001.
Yeah, you're right. 2001.
That's 2 years before.
Fucking close. I was close.
Pretty sure that's 2 years before Steve Irwin also died.
I don't know. When? 2006.
Oh fuck me! I thought he died earlier.
I'm pretty sure him, Peter Brock.
Yeah, Steve Irwin and Peter Brock basically died.
I think they died in the same year.
They died nearly within a week of each other, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, they did. It was only 4 days.
Yeah.
Difference, yeah, that's right.
Because Peter Brock died in a car accident, his profession. Steve Irwin died while filming a new nature documentary about the ocean.
Yeah,
and His profession. So, I guess the takeaway from that is, get a job that you really, really like that doesn't involve any kind of danger whatsoever, and you'll be fine for life.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to both legends, obviously. Meant no disrespect.
But yeah, Aden, you got anyone to add to that list? You know,
look, as a kid that grew up loving sport, there's so many sports stars. You got Wally Lewis, Alan Langer, Andrew Johns was predominantly the early 2000s. Same with Freddie Fittler, but there's a lot of NRL stars. There's AFL stars as well. You got good old Warwick Kappa. I think a lot of Aussies know about old Warwick Kappa. If you don't know about Warwick Kappa, I urge you to Google his name.
Why don't you give us a brief summary, Aden?
Let's just say he was a ladies' man. We'll leave it at that.
So he was Jordan's idol when Jordan was a teenager.
He was a bit of a player. Speaking of ladies' man, there's another cartoon from the 90s that was a ladies' man.
Johnny Bravo! Fucking hell. How did I forget? What's the guy's name again, Nate? I'm literally going to Google it.
Warwick Kappa.
Fucking, my Google's been playing up a lot. Warwick
Kappa.
That, not Warwick. I put 2 L's instead of 2 P's. Warwick Kappa.
Fucking idiot. Yeah, so, we were only real young at the time, but fuck, Australia in the 90s. What about the early 2000s? When, we got a little bit older. So, let's go, I know, maybe up to about 2005. How old would we have been then? We would have been about 9-10 years old.
Holy fuck, this guy was a major slut. Holy shit. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just Googled. Fucking hell, he was a sex worker at most after his footy career ended.
Yeah, right.
He made a sex tape. He worked as a prossy.
Wow.
He was so... Mate, he probably laid more pipe than the fucking plumbing service. Jesus. Alright, sorry. What was your question? We'll go back to it. Jesus.
Let's go further in time a little bit. Let's go from 2000 to 2005.
Well,
we would have been up to about 9 years old, so...
I think that was around the time, I think me and Aden can attest, that was where we really heavily got into Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like, Aden?
Yeah. I love Dragon Ball. Yeah.
It was around then that we discovered what action looks like.
Well, tell me more about Dragon Ball, Aden. How many episodes does it take for a fight?
Well, depending on the fight, I'm pretty sure. I think the Freezer one was what, 30 episodes, 31.
The Freezer one.
Yeah.
So.
Not the saga. I'm talking about the fight.
Yeah, Goku versus Freezer.
It wasn't that long. But it was long.
So, I'm literally doing the math up in my head. I don't think it was even 30.
No, it might have been 130 hours or something like that.
It felt like it. No. It was about 25, 26 episodes. But the only reason why I know that is because I remember for years afterwards, my parents would always comment that they'd look at the TV and the one thing they'd always see during that fight is Goku's got his hands up in the air. They reckon that was the longest section of the whole fight because Goku had his hands up in the air for about 3 episodes. Doing the Spirit Bomb.
Oh, fucking
pretty much.
But other things, I mean, that was probably around the time I started finding some, like, I guess more mature things because, you're starting to get a bit older. You're moving on from kids' things. But I can admit rather guiltily that every so often I'd still tune into cartoons even when I was about 10 and I'd still watch like the really young kids cartoons because there was like nothing else to watch at the time. So I mean, to be fair, it was kind of like the point of, how we like all sit on our phones now and just like watch YouTube videos and all that. That's kind of what it was like for me. I'd literally just watch stuff that was made for like 3 or 4, 5-year-olds, and I would just tune out, and I wouldn't even be watching it. It'd just be there.
I'd do the exact same with The Simpsons. Now, another big thing with the 90s was VHS players and VHS tapes.
Oh!
The amount of times Mum would go to, the $2 shop or to Vinnie's or whatever and buy rewritable VHS tapes. And go, here, Jordan, here's another one. I would sit there and I would watch Simpsons, and between the ads I would pause it and record it again, so that way on the weekend when there was no Simpsons I was just nothing going in my head. I'd just sit there and just watch The Simpsons all day. All day, all night.
VHS. Thinking back to VHS, I think I only ever had one VHS we ever rewrote. Like, actually put something on. And I'm ashamed to admit that I was still watching it even when I was like 10 or something. But it was the first ever Thomas the Tank Engine movie.
Oh.
Thomas and the Magic Railroad, I believe it was.
Oh.
It had live action actors like Alec Baldwin and stuff in it as well.
Hopefully you didn't shoot anyone in that. Oh, Jesus. What about, speaking of VHS tapes, Aden, did you have a VHS player?
Yeah.
There's one movie, I think it's synonymous for everyone our age that grew up with a VHS tape. You might know what I'm talking about, but it's a little orange VHS tape.
Yeah.
The fucking Rugrats. The Rugrats movie. The first one. I cried my little fucking heart out towards the 3/4 towards the end of that movie, where I think it was Tommy. What was his brother's name? Dill. And he found the little locket, and it's raining, and he's like, I've got to take care of my sponsibilities or sponsitilities or something. And I was just like, as a kid, I'm like,
So, I will dash your statement of everyone had it. I watched it on All-Star. I never owned it.
oh, la-di-da, Mr. fucking Magic Man.
I did have the sequel movie,
Yeah, when they went to Paris, hey.
but I didn't have that on VHS.
Yeah.
That was around the time DVDs were becoming a thing. So I had that one on DVD. Don't know if we still have it. We have this massive collection of old VHS tapes. I go there so often and just go, look at the old art style for these Pokemon videos. Like, fucking hell. And then I look and it's like, look at the Dragon Ball ones! What the? And then I see the best one, ABC for Kids VHS collection. Had about 9, 10, 11, 12 different shows and about an episode or two from every single one of them.
Yeah, right.
So it had stuff like Spot the Dog and all that on it. Thomas.
What's that big red dog? What was his name?
Clifford.
Clifford, that's it.
I can't wait for that movie. I'm actually going to go watch that. I don't care.
Hey?
Did you ever have a VHS player, VHS tapes?
He said he
Yeah,
does.
mate. I remember good old Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius.
Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
yes.
I thought of Dexter's Lab, but yeah, Jimmy Neutron was another big one.
Actually,
What I remember clearly from that Jimmy Neutron one was the Kids in America song that played at the end of it.
Yes. Yes, I know that song. I remember that song. Fuck, who sung that? Was it like Miley Cyrus or something done a remake of that song years later?
I do not
I
fucking know.
I think it was. It was years later, and I think it was like Miley Cyrus on one of the Hannah Montana episodes or something. Done that. I was like, huh, yeah, right. What was another one? Sort of, I guess, when we were quite like pre-teens, there was another one that I used to watch was, I think it was Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh, yes.
I used to love that. That was another one. That was after school special.
See, with me, I didn't ever see Bear in the Big Blue House until my brother was born.
Yeah.
Because by then we were heavily in All-Star stage. It was right before they bought their buyout from Foxtel. So they had stuff like Disney Junior and Nick Jr. and whatever the fuck. So I can say as a teenager, I was still technically watching baby shows in a way. Except they were now the early 2000s ones, which was Bear in the Big Blue House was still really popular around that time. But I also got that fucking little obnoxious, annoying little Einstein's fucking shit.
I can see, with being in the household where my niece and nephew were growing up, they were still in that stage there. So I used to watch Little Einsteins. What was the other one? Dora the Explorer and her favourite Mexican brother or cousin, Diego. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse.
Oh.
My nephew used to fucking love Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse. Like, that's all he would sit there and watch all day, every day. It didn't matter whether it was the same fucking episode or what. It'd just be that one that would just play, and he'd just sit there and he would fucking love it.
I feel the urge to go neck myself.
Yeah, there's a... yeah, because I can remember Nick Jr. and that. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, that was also Nick Jr.
Was that? No, that had to have been Nickelodeon, right? No way that was Nick Jr.
Yeah, it probably was Nickelodeon. But did that get aired? Because they're about our age, so that would have got aired about the time we were the same age.
Yeah, I think we were in high school around that time.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I remember when I'd stay up late on weekends as a kid, and you'd still watch your Cartoon Network and all that. I'd tune into Nickelodeon at the right time to see. This is the last one I'm adding to this 90s stuff, because this was a 90s show. What was it? Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's basically like a kids horror show.
Oh, I got one for you. It was gruesomely stories for bastardized kids or something. There, that's it. I used to watch that and used to shit myself. So it'd be on in the afternoon, and yeah, like you'd watch it and you're like, oh my god, is this real? And yeah, you fucking used to shit myself on that.
Well, Are You Afraid of the Dark had ones. There was one that really fucking got to me. I still remember it to this day. It was like a swamp monster, but he could appear anywhere as long as there was water. And he'd always terrorize the one kid until the kid disappeared. Obviously, because it was a kids show, they couldn't say the word die. But that motherfucker died. There's no way. But every time he would appear, you'd see this like moss overgrown being get out of the water, but then you'd get past the moss and see what was underneath it. It was literally just a half fleshy skeleton. And they showed it for like a second, and I remember seeing that as a kid and go, nope. So much nope, I'm off, turn that off, go to bed, have nightmares. That was it.
Well, actually, I've got another 2 points to raise now because you said that. What's one lesson that we watched as a kid that subconsciously taught us that the monsters that we see are people we know?
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
You...
That was a TV show we watched growing up. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I did. Used to love Scooby-Doo.
So, the Scooby-Doo that we probably all saw was like really grainy and looked really old, but it was airing in the 90s. That show was from the 60s and 70s.
And?
I think it might have been before that.
No. It was, so, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? If I remember my research, literally started around 1965.
You fucking kidding, right?
I am not.
Shit.
Scooby-Doo is older than my fucking parents.
Wow. There you go. I did not know that.
Nice. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? In 1969.
Oh, I was 4 years off. There you go. Okay, I take it back. It's older than my mum. It's as old as my dad.
Wow. Wow.
And yet we still love that adorable Rotro.
Speaking of scary things, what about the Goosebumps books?
Yes, someone brought it up.
Yeah, we had to, take books out of the library as fucking a thing for primary school. I'd always pick the Goosebumps books. I never read them.
Okay, this is as nice as I can put it. But Jordan, I don't see you picking up a fucking pamphlet and reading it.
Yeah, depending on what the pamphlet is.
Anything but cars.
No.
My point. Like, no offense to you. I didn't mean as in you're so stupid you can't read. But then again, this is the guy that said earlier in the episode, don't talk to me about big words. Aardvark's a big word.
Me foul English? That's impossible.
Oh my god, you've brought up Simpsons more than anyone else and you're now quoting it.
I fucking love the Simpsons. I fucking love it.
But yeah, no, I agree with you, Aden. The Goosebumps books were fucking amazing back then. Mm-hmm. What was one that you remember specifically?
Oh man, I can't remember the name. Oh man, I can barely even remember the book, to be honest. But there is a TV show I remember, and I've got a question for you. If you guys don't get this, I just give up on life. Are you ready?
Okay.
Have you ever felt
like this when strange things happen? You're going round the twist.
You fucking beat me to the punch, man.
That was another big one of the 90s.
Yeah, round the twist.
Round the twist, yeah.
Man, that show was on acid, I swear.
Oh, it's fucking
understatement. That show was something else.
But then again, so was the fucking Goosebumps books, so I can see how that segue worked out for you, Aden.
But then, looking at it as a kid, right? You guys probably didn't do this, but when you had Ostar or Foxtel, whatever, when you were a kid, there was also always one channel or two channels that you used to watch after midnight. One TV show was called Bloke's World. That was a fucking best show ever. You'd watch it and it'd just be two guys or whatever just sailing through Thailand or whatever and just fucking tits and cars and motorbikes and you just see the tits and you're just like, oh, this is great.
Sadly, yes, I have sat down and watched that one.
Or you watch the international weather after midnight and it'd be like some Colombian weather, but the chick's got no top on and she's like fully presenting the weather, but she's got no top on. And you wouldn't give a fuck about the weather, you'd just be sitting there looking at tits.
That one I actually never did. But I will add to yours then. So, around the same time, midnight, if you ever tuned in to Showtime, back then, channel 401, they play softcore porn.
Oh, really?
Yep. And I remember because I remember staying up late. I think it was like 12 or something. I was just surfing. I just finished watching the very late rerun on the comedy show of Whose Line Is It Anyway? And I was just going through and I'm like, what's a good movie to watch? Went to 401. Cannot remember the title of the film, but I let it load up and I'm like, oh wow, they're having sex. What? And yeah, that's how I discovered it. Every Friday night, like clockwork, at about 12 or 10 past 12, softcore porn. That was my introduction to porn. Showtime. Thanks, Oster. It wasn't even Bloke's World. Sorry, Aiden.
For someone that didn't have Oster, I can still agree with that because I had SBS. And that had some crazy shit on it. It's switch over to SBS at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and there'd be some German or French or some sort of program on that was softcore porn, but it definitely had back then some rapey vibes about it. I won't lie about that.
Yeah, definitely. Was that on SBS, hey? Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember that too. SBS, you'd stay up late because you're watching a movie or something or whatever, and you're flicking through the channel and you just see, you're scrolling through and you see tits and you're like, oh, let's watch this, and it'd just be something fucking so left field. You know, the movie would be based in another country. They'd have subtitles on the screen, but you just watch it and you're just going like, oh, I don't know.
So, again, no disrespect to you, Jordan, but I feel like any porn you watch that has subtitles, you're not gonna fucking watch. It's like, motherfucker, I'm here to see, not read.
Well, no, actually, fun fact. Any movie I watch the subtitles.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, because sometimes you turn it down and...
Oh, no. I'll turn it up loud, but I won't pick up on something that's in the background of the movie. So, like, someone will mumble under their breath in the background of the movie, and because I'm focused on what's in front of me, I won't hear that.
But you'll
hear it and read it in the subtitle,
and you'll be
then you'll be able to pick it up, and that's why I watch with subtitles on.
Yeah, right. I used to only put subtitles on because I watched things really quietly late at night in my room on DVD, so I try not to get caught staying up late.
I remember I used to do that with the Game Boy, the little handheld Game Boy Advance, the little flip one, the SP, and you have the brightness all the way turned up, and you'd be under the bed in the covers, and like you'd hear the doorknob rattle, so you'd close it real quick and pretend to be asleep, and then your mum would be like, "You awake?" Or she'd poke you or something, you try not to move.
You know that never really worked, right? They knew we were awake trying to do that shit.
We never got our butts kicked, so...
Yeah. Did you want to add anything else to that, Aden?
No, I think that's pretty good. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to discuss.
No, not really. I'm just sitting here like, man, the 90s were a good time. I think that's pretty much the whole gist of what we wanted to get across. The 90s were... They were amazing. Admittedly, we probably look back at it because we were like kids, and it's like, yay, no bills or responsibilities. Just get up, go to school, watch cartoons, go to bed.
Yeah,
Done. 100%. But, I mean, if everyone's okay, I guess we can wrap this one up then. This one went a little longer than I thought, honestly. Well, I guess that's it.
Australia in the 90s, how was it? Brief summary, what do you reckon? We lived for 6 years, 7 years in the 90s.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm older than you, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know, you're 1,007 years old.
Shut the fuck up. Looking at it, I think the 90s was probably like the stepping stone to what we are dealing with today. Like, let's look at, I mean, we mentioned some of the cartoons and how crazy and wacky they were, and then we look at the ones they have today, and it's like, oh, Jesus, they were so weird. But then we look back, and it's like, okay, no, the ones today have really toned it down.
Yeah, well, I made the comparison, you know. We used to look back at TV shows, ads, cartoons, what we used to watch and go, how the fuck did that get airtime?
It did, yeah.
You know, watching that as an adult, you go, that's such a fucking reference, a sexual reference or something. You're like, how the fuck did I not pick up on that as a kid?
Because we were dumb kids.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get. You look at it now, you're like, I'm smarter, wiser, and how did I not get that innuendo? Fuck me. But you watch it as a kid, and you're like, huh, that's a funny joke. What does it mean? Pretty much you'd be on the same page, eh, Aden?
Yeah, pretty much, mate.
Alright, well, I guess I'll wrap this up then. That was Australia in the 90s, or basically television in the 90s, because that's mostly what we went through. I'm pretty happy with how that one went. As always, I want to thank you, Aden, for joining us. It's always a pleasure, and we'll see you and we'll have you again for the next one. Hopefully, we can get the one that you want done in the next episode.
Fingers crossed. I've been talking to our special guest, and he's pretty well set up, so we should be able to have him go in, I guess, within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So that should be all sweet. And,
Thanks again, Aden. You're always a pleasure. As always, you can find Aden pretty much anywhere. If you tag Ados the Great, you'll find him. He's not that hard. TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. I'm not sure about Twitter, actually.
Yeah,
Twitter.
Yeah, he's got a Twitter.
Yeah.
Instagram.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. But go his TikTok, blow it up. If you go like every single video that Ados the Great has put on his TikTok, I'll Venmo you $2. go like every single and DM me proof on the Opinionated Aussie's Instagram, and I'll Venmo you $2.
That was a nice plug. See what you did. And
there's not a paid sponsor. Aden.
I'll Venmo you $2 for that one, Jordan.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Aden ain't paying us for shit. And yeah, as Jordan said, you can find him on the Instagram, for the Opinionated Aussies. And you can find me on my YouTube, AGO, which is currently in the middle of doing a new series, as well as on the Opinionated Aussies Instagram page. And if you really want to, my Twitter is available. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me. Good time.
Always good.
Let's do it again.
And Aden,
Yeah? What's going on?
do you want to say farewell to the audience?
See you later, guys.
Okay.
You fucking smart ass.
Okay, thank you for listening.
See you in the next one.
Have a good one there, guys.